Welcome to the Alive Loren Podcast, the place of celebrating juicy, soulful listening, living, being in this world while we have the opportunity to. So I've mentioned Mickey Singer's teachings really resonate profoundly for me at the moment, and I'm so grateful that they do upload to their website. It's Temple of the Universe, TOU.org. I can actually check that I've given you the right address. There's a page where you can see the talks. Is usually about twice a week. And often, I just find Mickey uses like really simple analogies that are really profound. And I sometimes come out with like some really meaty lines to really digest and chew on. And sometimes also stuff that's like really sobering and just to like fully digest. So this really inspired me a lot, the most recent one, because during the talk, he was speaking about, if you think about like someone who's feeling dissatisfied in the now, feeling lonely, sad, rejected, scarcity, like purposeless, and if this person were to have a conversation, like if you ask how do things need to be? How does the world need to be? How does everyone and everything need to be for you to be okay? It's quite a question to think about, even just like personally. Like, how does everything and everyone need to be for me to be okay? And the thing really is that to get to a place where, that's why I just find recently, I just don't find myself motivated by things on the outside, because it's just becoming so crystal clear that I take me with me to any magical distant scenario of, whether for me it may be like purpose-driven, fulfilling work that I think is making some impact that's in alignment with what I think I stand for, or value, or like a committed, meaningful, conscious relationship, or being in my own apartment, living in a community who are sustainably minded, and, like all the stuff I can picture. The thing is that I take me there. So if I'm not happy now, it's like the happiness is not really dependent on the outside things. The outside stuff is very temporary. It's kind of like, when you get a really nice, you order a nice cappuccino or a cup of tea or a pot of tea, it's hot when you first get it. But that wears off, it cools down. There's like a limited time that it has that warmth and hits that spot like that. And there's these things that I'm just realizing, like it's just really, really digesting this whole thing of happiness being an inside job. That it really, truly is. And I remember this, like a layer of this really penetrating when I'd come across this woman that was doing like workshops in Tantra and sensual living, and she'd had quite a hectic background herself in terms of where she grew up, and I think like sexual incidences and molestation and just a whole lot of stuff that have sexual abuse in her growing up. And her whole journey to actually get to a place where she sort of healed in that area and now is even teaching people in that space. And then she was giving workshops and seminars, and you'd think that this person would be like living their dream. And then I heard this announcement that she died, and I actually thought it was like suicide. So it was like, it doesn't matter what image of perfection, of amazingness would be the place to be, to experience all this joy, fulfillment, purpose, meaning. The thing is that I'm there when I get there. So if I'm just got this dissatisfaction and this like never happiness, the warmth of that warm, like that just newly arrived cappuccino that's the perfect temperature, that destination that's so idyllic, it's going to wear off. And then I'm still going to be there. So this thing about how does the world need to be and everyone and everything for me to be okay, to actually get to a place where exactly the way it is the answer. That actually to be okay regardless of what is going on the outside. And Mickey wow, he was talking about how when we sleep and we dream, our minds make up an elaborate world that certainly is not existing on the outside, but is very vivid for us on the inside. And that actually our minds are doing this even in our waking hours, because they are creating scenarios like we've often have asked. So like we have all these ideas of what we think the world needs to look like in order for us to be happy, content, satisfied. And constantly whatever is happening on the outside is being measured up against that. And it's just like, oh my Lord. It just makes sense. It's absolutely impossible that they're two separate things. That actually, that's how you can have 2 people, 3 people. I even just remember this other story with Rachel, Naomi, Remen, and all these stories now, these beautiful parables have like totally more profound meanings. Because there was a story of like these men that were all building this. It was like many years gone by and people building stuff by hand, and it was meant to be some place of worship, and they're moving. It's like really heavy physical labor every day, and you walk, and the parable goes that you see some of these men working, and you go up to the first man and ask him, excuse me, what are you doing? And actually he's quite annoyed, and he looks at you and he's like, can't you see what I'm doing? I mean, isn't it obvious to you? You can see I'm look at me, look at the sweat on my brow. You can see I bent over, I'm lugging these heavy bricks and stones and cement, and every day for the hours I need to earn some money, I'm doing this day in and day out. I mean, I can't even believe you've interrupted me to ask me this. And then carry on a little bit further on this site, and you happen to notice someone else and ask the same question, excuse me, what are you doing here? And he says, oh, sure, yeah, this is pretty intense work, but every day I come here, and what I'm doing here is I'm earning a living for my family. Because with the money that I earn here, I'm able to pay for a home for my family, I'm able to put food on the table, I'm able to clothe them, I'm able to provide some extra, pay for tuition and some extra special things and save for a bit of a holiday. So that is what I am doing here. And then you walk along and you happen to notice another person who's absolutely like beaming. And wow, this person's got this amazing smile on their face and seems to just have a spring in their step with their work. And you ask this person, excuse me, what are you doing? And this person looks at you and is radiating in this brilliant beaming smile. And they said, what am I doing? Every day I come here and I am part of building this most magnificent sanctuary, this place of worship, which will serve as a beacon for lost souls who will be able to see it from miles and miles away. And this will be a place where they will find refuge and connect again to the world beyond, and all that have lost hope and feel uninspired, and those who are inspired, who will just even be lifted to greater heights. Well, they're all doing the same physical labor, but each of them have manufactured and created a whole other reality in their minds. So just like what Mickey was saying, which is quite a lot to digest and to chew on, as I said, that if we're going to make up stuff, why make up stuff that makes us anxious and worried, panicked? Why not make up stuff that makes life fun? And this one I really, really love. That it's not the world that's unfolding in front of me that determines the quality of my life, but it's how the world unfolding in front of me matches what I've made up that determines the quality of my life. Because the bigger the difference between what I have in my head as this ideal scenario of when I can feel happy and purposeful and ecstatic and blissful, and the more of a variation between what is happening in that, the less my quality of life. And the higher my quality of life than when they come to, and it's ridiculous. So a lot of really amazing stuff to digest and sit with, definitely. And I will leave you, because I just love this one so much. I just wrote it down. So I'm going to just read this out, just the last one. This is from Mickey's talk, the one that's uploaded today. Let me just actually see what the name is. So it is an upload called Doing Your Work Inside Instead of Outside. And the line that I love is, what you make up What you make up determines the quality of your life. It's not the world unfolding in front of you that determines the quality of your life. It's how the world unfolding in front of you matches what you made up that determines the quality of your life. Mwah! On that gorgeous note, let's commit to making up stuff that makes life beautiful and gorgeous and blissful. Oh, that's all we meet again, precious soul. Mwah.